Nope, we lost the audio again. No, no audio at all.
Meg, we've lost audio and the video feed. We still have the slides.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, we can
I
hear you.
think part of the computer problem we're having right now is honestly the I charged the thingies, but they didn't hold the charge over.
Yeah, if you want to just leave it at the laptop audio, Meg, that's fine. That's okay with you.
Same system. Phillips. No, we don't want to go to.
I think that's what what you're on now. That's what I'm hearing.
Joy, it shows that you're talking, but we can't hear you. Sorry.
This is very exciting.
Switch the phone audio.
No, that's going to put you in a
Yeah.
phone call.
That's audio settings. Sorry, guys. All right.
Hello.
Test mic. Can you hear us now? Is that working? Automatically adjust volume.
We can hear you.
You know, we were so very good on all of this stuff.
We can hear you.
We did it last year. It was very good.
Speaker. I think that's the one you want. And then you want to turn. There you go.
Okay, how we doing?
We can hear you.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
Let's get rid of this now. We're back to computer.
We're back to here. Okay. So for this meeting, we're going to start with recognitions for 2024. Lisa kindly put this together, although she couldn't be here today, so I'm the stand-in for Lisa for our 2024, awards. So yes, I guess we can.
I'm laughing because Gary just tried to enter the room and I'm like, Gary's in the room. All right.
Multitasking. Okay, so this is everyone who has completed their first certification. So congratulations to all of these folks. We have certificates for you, but not here currently. So they will be to you another time. We don't have there was a problem with the mail coming out of Virginia Tech and getting to here, so some things were unfortunately couldn't be here by this date. So yes, but congratulations to all these folks. Thank you. A few of you are here, so yay. We can go on to the next slide. This is 46 people in the chapter, which is almost half, have recertified. So that means, you know, you got your first and then now you're on your second certification. So congrats, and you all will get pins at a later date. So they're in the mail, but they're not here today. So this is really awesome to see 46 people on this list. Yeah, and several of you are here also. So yay. We're getting there. We're getting there. So go ahead. So here's the milestones. Woohoo! We do have the milestone pins here. So congratulations, Meg. You are here. You're on 250. I don't know. I'm not sure why. It's at least a question. Yeah.
It's all with better impact.
Yeah.
And how things go with that.
Yeah.
But definitely let us know, because we do know that better impact was having some issues getting things in that we're not. So Lisa has been doing a really good job. Come on in. she's been having to download every single month how many hours people are keeping track of. So she knows of the issues and she's doing double efforts to make sure that we don't lose those hours. So definitely bring it up. Sorry.
Oh, okay, so I know Joy is online, Susan, I do not see here today. Lynn, Carolyn, and then
Lynn's
Logan,
online.
I have. For 500 hours, Susan, and then Joyce, Tim, and Inez have gotten that. At least 1,000 hours, so thank you for that, because that was very impressive.
Excellent.
Is that it? We didn't miss anyone in here.
I think, I don't know if Inez is on the computer. Okay.
Okay, and then Lisa put together each category who had the most hours in each one. So Candace had the most hours of citizen science with more than 250. Joy had the most hours for education outreach, and of course she has been a great help to us with the Zoom and technology and the website. So thank you, Joy. Tim, as anyone who knows Tim knows that he has been doing invasive plant removal at Sylvania, and he has put almost 290 hours in last year, which is crazy. And I know that we have a lot less mile a minute because of him. So thank you, Tim. Rookie of the year is Ethan Green. Extra hours in 2024, so he's certified and then recertified. And then we have Carol, who is leaving the chapter this year. Unfortunately, she has moved to Fairfax, which I'm sure that's great for her, but sad for us. So she did, again, 281 hours of invasive plant removal last year. So we went further. And overall, as a chapter, 111 people volunteered, which is very impressive. We had almost 7,000 hours volunteered last year. And you can not see this one, but you can see the breakdown of all the hours.
Looks like it's a 4.
I think it's a 1. I think they're all 1,000, and then citizen science was in 2. But yeah, so congratulations everyone, and let's do another awesome job in 2025. Yay, thank you. All right, okay, so that's our little intro. And then we will, oh, hi. We'll get set up with our next slideshow. Thank you, Meg, for being our technology expert.
Working on it. Don't, get out of here, go to the next one. There we go. See, I've got this figured out. It only took me, how long? A whole year. And there you go.
Yay, okay, so we are lucky to have Ashley here tonight from the Prince William Conservation Alliance. She's been with them for almost 5 years. Yeah, and been doing great work in conservation and environmental justice and land use policy. So thank you, Ashley. And she's going to talk to us today about salinization. So turn it over to you. And if you stand here,
Okay, not working. Yeah. And the speaker's going through the computer, so they should be able to hear you.
Okay, perfect. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, Marie, for coordinating this effort and for inviting me to come to speak to you today about a really important topic, which is the salinization of our freshwaters, particularly the Occoquan Reservoir, which is our drinking water resource. My name is Ashley Studholm. I'm the Executive Director with the Prince William Conservation Alliance. And I'm just delighted to be here with you all tonight. So let's advance. Before we jump into the topic today, I think most of you are pretty familiar with PWCA and the work that we do, but I want to just go over just a quick little refresher. So we're obviously a grassroots environmental nonprofit. We're focused on conservation of our natural and cultural resources throughout Prince William County. And Prince William County, I mean, considering what we have is great for us that live here and the wildlife that lives here, but it's also regionally significant. We are really important to the conservation for the entire region for a couple of reasons. You just click. So we're one of the only localities within the Chesapeake Bay that spans tidal wetlands to the Bull Run Mountains. So that means we have a wealth of different ecosystems, hydrologies and geologies that, that we span. We also hold the line of the urban and suburban expansion that's radiating out from the urban core of DC. We are home to 2 national parks, that's Prince William Forest Park and Manassas National Battlefield. And we also have Marine Corps Base Quantico, which is a really significant employer for folks in this region, but also at the federal level, providing training to our military and other federal employees. And then, of course, our water resources, our significant water resources, such as the Occoquan Reservoir, which we're going to do a deep dive today, then also Quantico Creek, which is one of the highest quality streams in the region. And we do this through advocating for smart growth. We connect people to nearby nature. We uplift voices of community leaders, and we promote environmental stewardship. Together, we are working to establish equitable, sustainable communities throughout Prince William County. And we're making a difference. Photo here is a project that we're working on, a restoration project out at Veterans Park with Supervisor Franklin and Supervisor Angry. Of course, in 2008, our claim to fame was the acquisition of Merrimac Farm through a really unique partnership with DWR and Marine Corps Base Quantico, which is, of course, where we have the lovely Bluebell Festival, which I'm sure I'll be seeing almost all of you at coming up. And we successfully, a couple years ago, successfully advocated for the use of at minimum 80% native plants in county-owned land, and established all the scenic byways that are that we have in Prince William County. So just a couple of things that we have coming up. Of course, the Bluebell Festival, March 30th. Hope to see you there. And on the last Sunday of every month, we host a bird walk that Nancy Beers leads out at Merrimac Farm. We have a bunch of other upcoming events, but these are the current ones that have dates. Current issues really quickly in terms of smart growth, we're really focused on the data center issue and protecting the Occoquan Reservoir. Mentioned here is the Occoquan Reservoir Protection Area. We'll kind of dip our toe in that a little bit later in this idea of a one water system model, a project that we're working on with the Occoquan Watershed Monitoring Lab. Mapping out some redevelopment opportunities throughout Prince William County, and then of course protecting Prince William Forest Park and Quantico Creek from encouraging new development. Current activities, we have our citizen science, our bluebird monitoring, butterfly surveys, Christmas bird count. We host community programs. I attend groups like you all and give some programs. We comment on land use decisions that we feel are pretty significant. We have the Wildlife Garden out at Merrimac Farm, the Bluebell Festival, the Native Plant Symposium, restoration work at Vets Park and Merrimac Farm. And the list goes on and on and on. And we all do this with 2 people, so me and Terrell. And that is because we have awesome community support from members such as many of you sitting here today. So thank you to our members. And if you're not members, consider joining us. All right, so let's get started. And before we do so, I have a couple of questions. So I'm going to ask you, and you can just raise your hand so I can kind of get a feel. How many of you get your drinking water from the Occoquan Reservoir? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many don't know? We're not sure.
Fairfax. I think we're Fairfax out in Haymarket.
Okay.
If I spoke to your counties,
No. Okay, next.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
No, well,
Wow.
Then no. Okay, how many of you live within the Occoquan Reservoir watershed? Okay, several of us. And how many aren't sure? If you do, you're not sure, okay. And then how many of you have ever spoken at a public hearing to the Board of County Supervisors on a land use issue? Okay, great. I'll raise my hand for that. Okay, next. All right. We're going to go over a couple, I'm just going to briefly go over some terms that I think are important for the discussion today. I'm not going to define them right now unless I feel like I need to, but I want a show of hands as we go through them. If I mention a term, just raise your hand if you feel pretty comfortable with that term. I just kind of want to get a feel for how people, familiar these terms are. So let's see, go ahead. Watershed. Okay. All right, great. Stormwater. All right, awesome. Impervious surface. Oh, yeah. One water system. Excellent, because that is quite an extensive slide. Okay, great. Potable reuse. Okay, great. So just real quickly, potable reuse is basically the fact that we have wastewater that is treated, then enters into the Occoquan Reservoir, which is then further treated and distributed as drinking water. And service shed. Okay, service shed, I'll probably demonstrate that just to reiterate the point on a map, but it's basically like, you know, okay. We have the Griffith, which is the treatment plant for our drinking water. Where that water goes out to, all of those homes, that land area, that would be the service shed. Okay, all right.
The difference between that and a watershed.
It's not tied to the topography of the land. And we will see that. All right, so let's,
I'm gonna interrupt you for just a second. Do you need a pointer?
I probably will.
Okay, let me grab you a pointer.
Are you going to be talking about one water system?
I will.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's pretty involved. So first I wanted to share with the Occoquan Monitoring Lab, we no, I don't want you to sign in. I just it's not gonna let me.
They're not gonna see the screen share.
Oh,
Without going through it.
accept these. There.
Stop share and then we have to reshare it, sorry.
Coming up, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background. This video is not complete yet, but I'm the writer and director of it through a collaboration with a project that we are doing with the Occoquan Monitoring Lab. We're building a model that will be publicly available for people to manipulate and really get to know the watershed a lot better. So I'm not going to play the whole thing, but we're going to just do a bit because I think it kind of sets the stage pretty well for the discussion that we're going to have today.
You need to unmute.
The video,
Okay,
like the
right?
screen share, it's not sharing.
I don't know how to do that. It's music. Will it be talking?
Yeah.
When the video's playing in the bottom right corner, there's
Okay.
a microphone button. You need to turn it on.
Toggle, yeah. Did?
No,
Should-
it's share with computer audio. I think it's within the screen share itself, or it could be in your browser. Either way, is it playing
Yeah.
in the room? Can you hear it? In
Not yet, but it was music.
Okay, it could be the browser itself. You need to allow it.
Really at the beginning.
Yeah.
It might be Meg, when you make the little bar come up at the bottom.
Okay, I'm not even sure where I'm at. How do I get to here? Oh, because I need to be
Yep,
here.
and then you want to push the arrow that says share. And then There should be an option, share sound.
Yeah, an option.
Thanks.
We're gonna start this all over again. But
Okay, we can hear it now.
okay, but it's not big.
Oh.
Okay.
We're so lucky to have the Occoquan Reservoir as a resource. I mean, there's nothing more central to the longevity of our community than clean drinking water. But if we're not careful and intentional about our planning, we could lose it. It's not a guarantee that we'll have it forever. It's something that we have to fight for.
Nestled in the suburbs of the D.C. metropolitan area in Northern Virginia, the Occoquan Reservoir supplies drinking water to nearly 1 million residents. Managing it over the long term means balancing land use, stormwater control, and wastewater treatment. 50 years ago, water quality issues led to groundbreaking policies, making the reservoir a model for drinking water management. But today, population growth is causing new water quality challenges.
With the fast urbanizing nature of Prince William County, we are moving towards the chemical monitoring because the benthic macroinvertebrates, they strive more where you have tree canopies. And we are seeing a reduction in our riparian areas. But in urban areas, you find very high conductivity because of road salts, because of the impervious surfaces.
Providing.
Okay. Sorry, where do you want, was that done? Okay. That's great. Okay, stop share, and then we'll go back to your presentation. Actually, I have to pull the presentation up first. Thank you for your patience, everybody. I can get technology going. No, I can't.
You're doing wonderful.
This was a, oh, there we go.
Okay, so that just sets this.
Can you hear us okay still?
Yes.
Great.
Okay.
So that just sets the stage a little bit about what we're talking about here. Now, the Occoquan Reservoir provides drinking water to nearly 1 million people in the area. The primary source for residents on the eastern end of Prince William County, and it's managed by Fairfax Water. So just to quickly go over this a little bit. Thank you. Blue is the watershed, and you can see it spans several localities. So we have Fairfax, Loudon, Fauquier, Prince William, Manassas City, and Justice Park. It's in the watershed, but not the service. Okay, and we'll see that. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, what is the one water system? Next. So first, I want to distinguish that from what it isn't. So when I lived in Ecuador, in Cuenca, Ecuador, I lived here. And I was a researcher. I did a lot of my research at Cajas National Park. Now, this is pretty cool because it has a bunch of lakes. And that is where the drinking water was. All these little lakes here, the drinking water for the city of Cajas, the city of Cuenca. So the drinking water source and the watershed that protected that drinking water was separate from the infrastructure that people live. Okay, next. And it's gorgeous. It is beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And it's so cool. There was a national park that protected the drinking water source. Okay. Now we're going to move to here, to the Occoquan. So this is the Occoquan Reservoir here. And this white area is the kind of this mini watershed, if you will, directly surrounding the reservoir. And then we have the Bull Run sub watershed here, and then the Occoquan River sub watershed, which includes drains about 315,000 acres of mixed urban agriculture and forested lands, right? So
Wait, Ashley,
yes.
can you stand closer to the computer? When you turn around, we lose your voice.
Yeah, you got that here.
How about if I do this? I'm just gonna be real.
Yeah, no, be real cozy. I
Real quick.
can move over. You got plenty of
Yeah.
room.
Perfect,
That's
thank
my
you.
cozy.
I'll try to project. Sometimes I can project with planner, it doesn't help. Okay, so we have this watershed. And then within this watershed, we of course have a lot of people living. The next. And so we have this population that the Occoquan watershed is home to 574,000 people as of the last census. And that's projected to increase by 2040. And it includes several jurisdictions, which we saw on that map. So Prince William County, this is in order of the percent of the watershed that's comprised of. So Prince William accounts for 40%, Fauquier 36, Fairfax 17, Loudoun 5, and then a little bit there with the city of Manassas and Manassas Park. Now, what's interesting is that when the reservoir was established, the initial recommended population within the watershed was 100,000 people, which we've clearly surpassed significantly. So that's actually a pretty amazing engineering feat that the Occoquan Reservoir is still a viable drinking water resource despite this population growth. Just to hammer that point, this is all data from the Occoquan Monitoring Lab. So this is population density compared to percent of impervious surface. And this shows imperviousness. I think we all are familiar with that term. So in the Occoquan watershed, the percent of imperviousness increases with population density. And this is a nonlinear relationship. So you see this kind of skyrocket. And the percent increases most rapidly between the 100 and 1,000 density range. But what I really want to show you with this graph, there's a lot of noise, right? There's a huge difference between what's happening here versus what's happening up here. It's the same density, but the percent of imperviousness, there's a huge gap between that, right? So clearly there is a way that we can build for more population, for more people, for more growth without increasing the imperviousness of the watershed. Okay, next. Okay, so that was the watershed, right? So that is what's happening within this black line. We have the forested areas, we have the natural areas. This is delineated by the topography of the land. And then there are people that are living here. Now, there's a lot of other information on this map. The one water system says, okay, well, there's this watershed, but sitting on top of that watershed is the drinking water and wastewater infrastructure that extends, that changes the dynamics a little bit or adds to the dynamics of the watershed. So we'll start here with, this is Griffith, managed by Fairfax Water. That's the intake. So the water in the Occoquan Reservoir gets taken by the Griffith, it's treated, and then this area, this orange area, that is the service shed. So if you live in this orange area, your primary drinking source is from the Occoquan Reservoir, all right? And then these folks that live in here in these little orange areas, your primary source is the Occoquan, and you live within the watershed. I live kind of over here, so I live outside of the watershed, but my primary drinking water source is the Occoquan. Okay, then we have the Corvallis intake, which takes water from the Potomac River and treats it, and then gives folks that are connected, so not folks on well, obviously. This is their service shed in green. And so that's if you live in that area and you're not on a well, you likely would get your water from the Potomac. Okay. Now we have UOSA, which is the wastewater treatment plant, and their service shed is in red. Okay, so what does that mean? That means if you're not on septic in this area, you're likely connected to your wastewater. It goes here. So all of the industry and homes and all of that is within this service shed goes here, gets treated, and then gets released and gets down into the Occoquan reservoir. All right. So that's the one water system says, okay, we have this watershed, but on top of that, we have additional infrastructure. So we're actually pulling in water from the Potomac via UOSA and adding that to our reservoir. Okay.
How does that bring the name one water system?
I'm not in charge of naming things, so we're just going to accept it. Move on. All right. Okay. So the one water system, the inflows to the Occoquan we have the UOSA reclamation facility that's contributes 6% of the quantity that goes into the Occoquan. We have the Bull Run at 25, the Occoquan at 48, then some other, which is basically that watershed that's directly surrounding the reservoir and groundwater that feeds into it directly, and then precipitation, which is pretty negligible. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you go back to the chart slide, please?
Sure.
So the 33 coming from the UOSA, does that not count the water that came from the itself? Is the 33 just a portion that came from the
Yeah, so everything that goes to UOSA came from Corvallis, which is the Potomac. Nothing comes from the Occoquan. There's no overlap between the service shed of UOSA and the service shed for the Griffiths. Yeah, unless there's an emergency, then they can. Then they can.
Right, I thought that they.
Yes. Yeah, because can we go back actually one? So here, if there was an emergency and the Potomac River was like, you cannot take water from here right now, Fairfax Water has the ability to kind of like transfer things around, but typically no. All right. Okay, so now let's get into what does the SALT data say? Again, this is all from the Occoquan, the monitoring lab. So this data is a time series from the 80s to 2020, and this green line here, that is the health advisory standard that the EPA sets. So basically, if you are on a restricted salt diet, then you want to be mindful of this line. Okay. And so what we see is that over time, there has been an increase. All right.
Is this because of the Potomac?
No, we'll get into why. So
Were each of those values a monthly value for?
that's a good question. I don't remember. I don't remember what each data point represents.
Because they run it for this stuff on a daily basis.
Exactly. So it would be,
would-
oh, so I'm sure that these are averages of some sort, but I'm not sure if it's, I'm not
That's
sure.
okay.
So I'm not, clearly they're not, because next slide. These are more the data, the daily, so you see more of that fluctuation. So the other data points are clearly some sort of average, but I'm not sure which one. So these are the daily, so you see a lot of noise, if you will. But the purple is the at the Fairfax water intake, and so you do kind of see this upward trend. The ST10, that's over here with the Occoquan, that's the station at the Occoquan River. So that's pretty, oh, and these lines here, that again is the health advisory, and then the solid black line, that is where you can start to taste the salt. So that's a taste threshold. So the ST10, that's over here, and so that's kind of hidden by some of this noise from the Fairfax side, and then the ST45 is here just downstream of where UOSA inputs, and you can see that those values are a little bit higher. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And again, this is all data. So these are charts showing kind of the variability and the variation. So this is imperviousness and sodium concentration, and again, that's that health advisory from the EPA, and that's that taste threshold. And we do see that at the higher levels of imperviousness, there's a lot more noise. And so, you know, we can see higher concentrations like these pulses, right? Okay, so what are the sources? Yes. So the sources, we're going back to that graph and the sodium mass loading. So the sources of the salt that we see here is a lot from Bull Run. Remember, Bull Run is that watershed's pretty well developed. Then we have a little bit from the Occoquan River, quite a bit from the reclaimed water, and then less from the other. So next. And I just want to highlight, so remember those inflows percentages that in terms of the quantity of what's going into the Occoquan. Just click. I just wanted to highlight, you know, the reclaimed water is contributing 6%, but contributing 20% of the sodium load. Okay. And then also Bull Run, 25% in terms of the quantity, but 40% in terms of the load. Go ahead.
Where does storm sewers come into this? Do they go through the
Stormwater goes right to the creek.
Yeah, so that would be embedded in the Bull Run in these rivers. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, so the other, that is directly surrounding the reservoir, so that's groundwater and runoff directly around that area. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go to the next. Okay, so don't click on anything, just a minute. So we have this overview. What are the sources specifically? I heard someone say road salt. That's good. What are other sources, do we think? To people's diets, yes. Anyone else?
Industry.
Industry, yes. Anything else? Fertilizer? Yeah, runoff from anything that you put on your lawn gets flushed out. Yes, absolutely. Okay, that's really great. Now let's go see. Okay, so de-icer use. So we say road salts, but this isn't just VDOT, okay? VDOT is actually trained in applications. A lot of the issues are actually people who aren't trained and they just dump it all over and then there's no cleanup afterwards. I actually well, anyway, we can move on. Okay, wastewater treatment chemicals. So there is some additions to the water because of the pH. This is kind of new and I don't know a ton about it, so we're not going to get into that very much, but I did want to highlight it because it is a source. Okay, you mentioned industrial and commercial discharges. Micron uses kind of a really salty solvent to clean their chips, and that goes straight to UOSA. So that's a big source. Diet, so whatever you flush down the toilet goes straight there. UOSA does an excellent job of cleaning the wastewater, but it does not remove salts from the wastewater. That is a really specialized process that requires reverse osmosis. That is incredibly expensive, so that is not done. And then the down drain disposal of sodium-rich household products. Look at your detergent when you get home. They use sodium chloride as a bulking agent, and sometimes it's like the second ingredient. It does nothing except for bulk up your detergent. But there are other, if you read the label, there are other sodium compounds in there as well. Okay. Okay, so, all right. What can we do? These are the list of things. So let's go through de-icers. So there are some, I think, best practices that we can implement and certainly look into alternatives. And I know that there have been some state bills proposed to look into some of these things. I'm skipping this one because I don't know what I'm just not ask Stan Grant to come in, and I'm sure that you can get that. So then the industrial and commercial. So UOSA can set pre-treatment requirements for some industries, and that is certainly true with Micron. And then, of course, the location. Where are these things located in the watershed? It can play a role as well. Okay, go ahead. The human excrement diet. We're going to get very far with recommending people that live in the service shed go on a low salt diet. I'm not sure what kind of world we're seeing.
It's so full of it, so it's not just salt shaker.
But there is certainly an element of smart growth in housing that's involved in that. And then, okay, for that down drain disposal, probably some education for product replacement. There are better alternatives for some of these things. But then again, that smart growth for housing will play a key role in that too. Okay, next.
I want to see everybody post on the forum what detergent you're using now. That would be really cool. We'll put it on the forum to see and what percentage and make a change.
One that I was like, oh, doing good, right? There's all sorts of sodium in there.
I have to go because we did the Earthwise ones. We've got those, but I haven't looked at them because they may still be full of salt just because they don't have all the extra plastic.
No, they're not all true.
This is true. It is. I don't know. Have to go look at those detergent sheets, so we'll see.
Yep. Okay.
So if anybody finds this problem, I'm going to get everything's their dishwasher. Like to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that, folks. Go home and go check out your stuff right now.
So for all of these, I mean, there are some like policy changes. There's some like outreach and education that we can do, and but in terms of what we can do and the work that PWCA does, we're really focusing on, okay, well, how can we grow in a smart way that limits the expansion of this imperviousness? And because a lot of these factors have a land use element to them, right? The de-icers and impervious surface, are those parking lots and roads and all of that. So like thinking about, well, where do we want these things to really be makes a difference. in terms of those industrial and chemical discharges. And then all of these three have to do with the connections to UOSA. Now, I'm not bashing UOSA at all. UOSA is providing a really critical service, including wastewater, okay? And they actually, because of that, and because of that constant inflow from UOSA of that wastewater that's treated to a really high standard, because of that, that buffers the reservoir against drought. And that's pretty significant. But we are kind of testing the limits of, like, there's not maybe so much gain that we get from continuing business as usual. Okay. Okay, so how has this been done? Let's look at what has been done in the past. So this is comparing strategies between Fairfax and Prince William County. And this is the Occoquan Reservoir, and this is an aerial shot from Google Earth or whatever. So Fairfax Water, there's 25 homes. They established 5,000 acres of parkland, and they downzoned 41,000 acres. That was upheld by the Virginia Supreme Court as being like, good job, guys. You can do that to protect your drinking water. Then we go over to Prince William. We have a lot more development right around the Occoquan Reservoir. We have 450 homes. We have 70 acres of parkland. And I used to say, and promises protection for the headwaters, which was called the Rural Crescent. And with the update of the comprehensive plan, many people like to point out to me that the Rural Crescent is dead. Well, we'll get to it. And then, of course, but in the new comp plan, they established the Occoquan Reservoir Protection Area, ORPA, which I have here at 14,000 acres. It's a little bit more than that. It's like 15. That was just a rough estimate that I did with the GIS, and it's a little low. So let's look at that rural area. So again, this pink is the watershed, and the green was the former Rural Crescent. Okay, so let's continue. So when they adopted the new comp plan, we no longer distinguish, sewer is allowed everywhere. We no longer distinguish between a rural area and a development area. But we do have the Agritourism and Arts Overlay District, which looks really similar to what we had. We continue. And we also in the comp plan have the it's basically in the comprehensive plan is agriculture and forestry, land use designation, and then we have some parks and open space. Click one more. So it kind of looks like this now. Okay. So keep going. We also have, like I mentioned, the Occoquan Reservoir Protection Area, click, which is this little light brown area here that's close to the reservoir. So it's kind of similar idea to what Fairfax did in the downzoned area. It's again 1 house per 5 acres, and it's really about limiting the impervious surface and the because remember that graph, there's a high correlation between population density and imperviousness. All right, now looking at, I mean, we still want to develop, we still want to grow, and there's lots of opportunities to do that. And I think that that graph gives some indication that there is still some room to play, right? Here in Prince William County, I think that the map kind of generally looks like this. This is not, these are rough bubble maps. They're not precise. So if you were to zoom in and really look at that line, it's just supposed to represent the general concept. Okay, it's a concept map. Okay, so the yellow line that's here, that's the Ag and Arts Overlay District. Go ahead. I think there's a lot of opportunity to maintain that low density. Go ahead. maybe incentivize reforestation and have some appropriate agricultural use. Then the green area is this agricultural belt that extends from Stafford all the way through Prince William and out into Fairfax in that down zone area. And then you can really clearly see Prince William Forest Park here and Quantico. So here, I think within Prince William County, it's around 60% tree cover. So I think it's important that we find ways to maintain that tree cover. Go ahead. ORPA obviously upholds the policies that have been established to protect the reservoir. Go ahead. And then in these red bubbles, these are these suburban areas. And I think that these areas are ripe for reinvestment, reimagining, and redevelopment, and really looking to see how do we create some of those work-play communities that we talk so much about. So that's looking at that redevelopment and upgrading our stormwater infrastructure, I think would be really great here too. And this is all upheld or undermined through land use decisions. Okay. Okay, but how do we do that? And that, friends, is a topic for another day. So I do hope that you'll bring me back here and we can perhaps dive into the specifics. But if you want to learn more, we have a lot of information. We've had a lot of programs on clean water resources. There's a playlist on our YouTube page. So here we have a great presentation given by Dr. Stan Grant, who's the director of the Occoquan Watershed Monitoring Lab. He delivered to the Board of County Supervisors. We have my little feel on ORPA and the Holding Square projects, and Why So Salty with Stan, Fairfax Water, and oh, I'm blanking. Anyway, someone else that is regionally significant, and several others. So if you're curious about this and want to do a little bit more of a deep dive, we have a lot of resources for you. Go ahead. And thank you so much. Now, if we have time, we can go back and see the full video. I can ask questions, whatever you want to do. I'm at your disposal, but thank you so much for your time today.
Randy? Oh, sorry. That's up to you. We do have it recorded, if it's okay.
Yeah, you can from that, I think I made it so you can download the presentation.
Okay.
And you can because I'll probably get rid of the like restrict sharing at some point, but yeah, you can.
It will be recorded and set up to our YouTube channel, which is strictly only Master Naturalists. It's not open to the public. Our YouTube channel is, so because we've got our classes and things on there.
Yeah.
Really speak up, Randy.
Okay, well, I think there are dozens of good reasons to have smart growth policy in Prince William County.
I agree.
Careful, not going overboard on sodium as the main problem here. And based on the testimony is that what are people? On the other hand, EPA assumes that people drink 2 liters of water a day. That was the maximum. Basically 40 milligrams a day that people are getting through their water. For most adults, it's like 2,300 milligrams per day, and for people on a low sodium diet, it's like 1,500. So 40 through your drinking water pathway, you're talking about a very small portion of the overall load.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm all for the many sort of habitat reasons, the water quality reasons, the avoiding sort of acute spikes of sodium, which are more of an adverse pressure on ecosystems and on humans and so forth. I would just counsel you to not go, chemicals on protecting human health, the sodium as the main reason that PWCA is
Bigger
doing what
fish.
it's
Yeah, so really great point, and thank you for bringing that up. That is not the intention here. I was asked to give a presentation on, there was interest in the salinization of our drinking water.
Yes.
So I wanted to connect something that was relevant, that people were interested in, a topic that people were interested in, and connect it to the work that we are doing. There is a lot, like you rightfully pointed out, there is a lot of reasons. But there is also a lot of concern about the salinization of our freshwater systems, not because when we drink it, that harms our health. That's actually kind of minimal. I think it's more about where is the threshold when we need to start thinking that we need to make a $1 billion investment to desalinize. I cannot say that. Yeah. I think that it's more of an economic driver than a public health one. Yeah.
You know, you're monitoring sodium, and I thought in the past they monitored chlorine. Chlorides.
That is that's a Stan Grant question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. In the past.
Do you know, Randy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chloride is often monitored. Residual chlorine is always monitored.
Correct.
Chlorine is used as a disinfectant. But people out in the field typically measure conductance, which is a proxy for total dissolved solids. And total dissolved solids are mostly sodium chloride with lots of other stuff, depending upon the geology.
I saw in the past when they were talking about specifically road stalls, and then they were trying other types of stalls.
They are.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of calcium chloride. that
Right,
they-
and yeah.
Which then has the chloride that you can now. Sodium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
I
you.
just was intrigued.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest questions or things that we can take away is being more vigilant in general of what we're doing, what we're using. I know just after the last storm, looking out at the gas station and, they've got to make sure everything's good, but there were piles of salt on, and it wasn't on the road. It was like you said, the road folks are all, taken care of, but it's the businesses that we participate. And we could easily gently say, hey, can you sweep this up so it doesn't get to the fish or the otters, use something that people can connect to, just to educate and let them know. I mean,
Yeah, there are quite a few best practices in terms of application and spreading it out and then sweeping it up afterwards when it's no longer needed, but there's some residual still. Yeah, there's a lot there.
How do you convince the public that it's bad if you're not going to the health as the main reason?
Well, that gets back to that pocketbook question because the EPA doesn't have like a salt standard, but they do for like PFAS, for example, right? And so if Fairfax Water needs to implement technology to ensure that they're meeting drinking water standards, we're the ones that are going to brunt that cost. So if they have to install reverse osmosis to remove salt, that's a huge investment. We just don't know when that's, we don't.
How do you tell the public why we're doing it? Why do we have to pay that money to do that? How do you tell the public this has to be done if it's not about health?
Well, eventually it would be, depending on the concentrations. Yeah.
I mean, it is a help. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't go easy on it.
Yeah. there's no standard right now. Yeah.
Well, the Safe Drinking Water Act requires EPA to come up with standards for, anything that is known to be toxic. And that's what the primary MCL, maximum contaminant levels are. Then there are a bunch of advisory levels or aesthetic levels, like there's a secondary MCL for iron, not because it's bad for you, but because it stains your toilets and your clothes and stuff like that.
Right.
The secondary MCL is for sodium, and it's because some people are on severely restricted low sodium diet.
Yeah.
But it doesn't apply to everybody. So, you know, in that case, there's kind of a risk management judgment that rather than imposing a super expensive requirement on public utilities to try to get rid of, you know, contaminants to really low levels, it's better to try to inform people what you need to manage your intake.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, I mean, we're talking about salt here, but I mean, there are other potential contaminants, and I think the bottom line is there is likely the threshold in terms of like the watershed is at 10%, I think, imperviousness about. We don't know where that limit is. Like, could we build a Manhattan all over our watershed and still drink from it?
You'll find out someday. To start on fire like some of the other places.
So, yeah.
And also, all these contaminants, these dissolved solids are affecting the wildlife also.
100%.
And that's where we go into it.
Address people and their hearts and the warm and fuzzies that get them. The fishies and the otters and the cute little things.
Absolutely.
Kind of off topic, but what about the data centers we're going to, because we need a tremendous amount of water to do this computer. But you couldn't keep it water. We're just water.
It's really variable, and it depends a lot on the technology, like the cooling technology that's being used at the data centers. There is some preliminary data regarding salt from data centers, and it does seem to be slightly concentrated in terms of sodium, but it's not in terms of quantity, it's not a lot. So I think a lot is being like lost evaporatively if they are using a lot of water, because not a lot is coming out at the other end. But there's not a ton of data yet. There's just a couple of data points from a couple of data centers. And they tend to be older, so we don't know what some of the newer stuff is.
Yeah, as you said, there are different kinds of cooling systems. Many families are open loop cooling systems where water goes through, picks up heat, and then gets evaporated right on site. And then closed loop systems where the water flows through, picks up heat from the equipment, and then goes through a cooling cycle, and that loop is closed. So you periodically add makeup water to that. Either way, the system operators have to be really concerned about avoiding accumulation of minerals in the system, because if it gets, you know, evaporated, the water doesn't flow through. This could be a long story. I'll just give you the nutshell. One of the things the Sustainability Commission, which I'm on, has been concerned with lately is the trade-off between these different choices in data center cooling systems, because it turns out there's an inverse relationship between water use and energy use. The closed loop systems use a whole lot less water, a whole lot more energy to do that heat exchange. The open loop systems use a lot more water, a lot less electricity. And so these makes sense to consciously decide which is more limited here. One is the electricity piece, and the they're getting the right result. So, anyway, like I say, there's a lot more behind that, but it's a really interesting issue.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good question. Any other questions?
Excellent. Do we want to watch that? We've got plenty of time, or we've got a little bit of time. We can watch the whole 5 minutes if you want to do that. Does anybody want to see at home? Do you want to see the other few minutes of that slideshow?
Yeah, so this is a project. Yeah, exactly. You've seen that enough. So this video that we hope that we're about to watch, one, it's not finalized, it's not done. I'm still wrapping up some of the.
We don't have to, we can wait till.
But we can go, we can watch it. I just wanted to have that as a caveat. But this showcases a project that we're working on with the Occoquan monitoring lab. And we're hoping to complete as long as NSF continues to get funding, that we'll be doing, hopefully starting the end of this year.
Yeah. We're gonna skip ahead. We'll go there. How about that? Oh, sure, and then play.
Managing it over the long term means balancing land use, stormwater control, and wastewater treatment. 50 years ago, water quality issues led to groundbreaking policies, making the reservoir a model for drinking water management. But today, population growth is causing new water quality challenges.
With the fast urbanizing nature of Prince William County, we are moving towards the chemical monitoring because the benthic macroinvertebrates, they strive more where you have tree canopies. And we are seeing a reduction in our riparian areas. In urban areas, you find very high conductivity because of road salts, because of the impervious surfaces.
The lab has been consistently tracking water quality in the reservoir and its tributaries. Having this historical data helps shape smart policies to meet today's challenges and ensure safe water for future generations. Providing clean, reliable, and affordable water in a growing region, especially with droughts and stronger storms in the mix, is no small challenge. Fortunately, this area has a history of tackling big issues head on.
Something got messed up with the editing and all of that is.
Okay, so we're not gonna finish this up.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was good to go, not that long ago. But I don't know if someone was trying to edit it while I was talking over it, but that is not how, anyway.
It's not so.
The story was getting a little muddled, not how. But once it is published and released, I will be sure to share that with you. Is that we're creating a model so people can really get to know this one water system that it's called, and be able to manipulate it and see what, okay, under different drought scenarios, what does the reservoir look like in terms of the quality and quantity of our water? If we increase the imperviousness, if we increase the population, how does that impact the quality of our water? And that would be a web-based model that anyone can go to and play around with. And so it would be a communication tool, it would be an education tool, but then hopefully also a watershed management tool, particularly when some of these localities are going through their comprehensive plan updates. Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We're really bad on the speaker part. I'm like, I don't have anything to offer you as a thank you for stopping by and sharing all of this wonderful knowledge. So, we're all going to show up for the Bluebell Festival and extra help, although I have to work that day, so I can't, except me. Look, thank you. And, we'll continue on, learning and monitoring and staying vigilant on what we can do and what we were able to do.
a lot of reasons why like smart growth practices are beneficial to quality of life for residents and wildlife throughout Prince William County. And so, you know, getting to know that a little bit more and engaging with your elected officials, I think that is another way to have an impact. So I'll just end on that.
Thank you. Right. Any other thoughts, questions? We've got some other announcements going on. Bluebell Festival definitely need some help. Extra besides. I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't pull my hair, guys. I'm not the president. It's very show. This is what happens when you don't have a president. They definitely need some extra help with just monitoring, besides our own table that we're going to be there. Parking monitors, I'm sure, some leaders for hikes, and just general support staff. So if you can, go ahead, and I think on that forum, we do have over half of our members are on the forum now to check things out, at least onto the website. So please check those things out. Email, and this is something I'm going to request everybody. If you do have a request or a comment or something, please email the general email address. I'm getting a lot of one to my personal email, and I'm forwarding it over there just to try and keep it my own sanity a little bit. So please let us know. We want to hear from you. And I am monitoring both emails. So I am getting it still regardless. But keep doing that. We did have a request, and we'll put this up. This just came in the other day, and I got a flyer. You can see it very well. I'll post it somewhere. The Prince William 4-H is doing a big tree planting on April 12th, and they need as many people as possible. 100. Thank you. You got your speaker and your other stuff. Anything else? The microphone, you got that one. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you. Drive safe. Stay dry out there. I don't think the rain's still going. I don't know. But they want to plant 100 trees. This is going to be at the county court building on County Complex Court in Woodbridge. So at the county offices, 100 trees by 4-H. They're going to need, you know how planting a tree is. Planting a tree is not one person, one tree. Wouldn't that be nice? It takes like 3 people to dig a hole sometimes. I don't know how big these trees are. I don't know anything else about that. There is a sign-up sheet. We'll put this up on the website. Joy, I'll send you the link. If we can get it on the website, we'll put up on the forum for sure.
It'll be in the next newsletter.
And in the next newsletter. So this is April 12th at 9 a.m. County Complex Court. I'm sure they'll put some signs up. This is helping the 4-H. If you've got anything to do that day, please come try and help us out and plant a tree. We can have, you know, as many of us that we can do that, to do something like that. There is any other announcements? Yes, Nell.
No, I wanted to remind people.
I'm getting off the camera.
I just wanted to remind people, if they weren't aware, that MeWe is starting up again, and there'll be a training session April 1st. And then many opportunities over the next 2 or 3 weeks to help out with that. And if you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite things. And they need as much help as they can get.
Another announcement, Lee Sylvania is asking for more volunteers to do invasive removals. We can't let Tim get all of it. You know, we love you, Tim, but we want to help you too. So they're organizing some things to be, they will organize as an entire group, and then we can show up where you don't have to be an individual volunteer with the state park system. But you can be an individual volunteer. I'm talking to the camera instead of you guys. This is, you can be an individual volunteer. How many of our members are volunteers with state park system? How many of you actually gone through the background checks and such? I'm not, because I work there, so they don't. So we could use some more, you know, volunteers doing everything. There's a lot of things that are coming up, especially with Earth Day coming around the corner. And so many different ways you can volunteer. Do that. So please take a look at those forums. We're doing that. A couple of CE events that are coming up. April 13th, the Banshee Reeks Master Naturalists at my park. So I'm inviting our Master Naturalists. I haven't given you a web or an address. I think I said hold the date. We're gonna do a vernal pool walk. It'll be a lot of fun. It is gonna be about a 4 mile round trip hike up to the vernal pools. They're unfortunately because of the water, we haven't had a whole lot of rain, but we've been seeing a lot of frogs and a lot of salamanders. You can hear them, absolutely. It's wonderful. And the spring peepers and the wood frogs and the turtles are coming out, the salamanders. It's exciting, all the different salamanders we've been seeing. So please come up to Sweet Run State Park for CE because while I may be leading it as a state park ranger, I'm actually going to take off my hat for the first time because let's face it, we all love sharing what we know, and we'll be hitting wildflowers up there and every other animal and insect along the way that we can. I put it out for being like 2.5 hours to 3 hours. A 4 mile hike with Master Naturalists could take a lot longer. Let's face it, we stop and talk and point out every little mushroom that we see along the way. But it is so wonderful, and we really want to do more connections with our other Master Naturalist chapters. So it'll be a lot of fun to just. It'll be on the newsletter. We'll get it on the calendar. It's on the Sweet Run State Parks calendar. So yeah, April 13th. It'll be, I think it's starting at 2 o'clock. I can't remember the exact time, and I'm the one who scheduled it. Sorry about that. Anything else from the crowd that's going on? Anything online? I don't see anything else online. Any other options coming up? Sean, I'm sorry? Yes. We'll do housekeeping. Oh, we didn't do that part. The bathrooms, by the way, are just at the end of the hall. Should have done that at the beginning of the meeting. We're gonna sign off on this. We're gonna say goodbye. Say goodbye, everybody. Bye. Good night. Safe drive. Stay home. Be dry. It's wet outside. I have no idea. Good night.